Imagine this. It's a quiet summer morning in Siberia, June 30th, 1908. The sun rises slowly over endless forests, the rivers shimmer in the light, and villagers go about their routines. But suddenly, the peace is shattered. The sky splits open with a blinding flash, brighter than the sun itself. Seconds later, a thunderous explosion shakes the ground. A wall of heat knocks people off their feet. Trees collapse like matchsticks. For hundreds of miles the earth trembles. And yet, when the dust clears, there is no crater, no meteorite, nothing but devastation. This is the mystery of the Tunguska Event, the largest explosion in recorded human history, and one of the greatest scientific puzzles of all time. The morning of June 30th, 1908. At exactly 7:17 a.m., something entered Earth's atmosphere above eastern Siberia, near the Podkamennaya Tunguska River. Eyewitnesses described seeing a fireball racing across the sky. Some said it looked like a second sun. Others compared it to a burning cylinder glowing white-hot with a long trail of smoke behind it. Moments later, the object exploded in mid-air. The blast released energy equal to 10 to 15 megatons of TNT, roughly 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The explosion flattened over 80 million trees across 2,000 square kilometers, an area larger than London, Paris, and New York combined. Villages hundreds of miles away felt the shockwave. Windows shattered. Horses panicked. Fishermen on nearby rivers were thrown into the water. The explosion was so powerful that it circled the globe. Barometers in England and Germany registered sudden atmospheric pressure spikes. But most mysteriously, when investigators arrived, they found no crater, no fragments of a meteorite, nothing, only endless forest flattened outward in a strange butterfly-shaped pattern. Eyewitness testimonies. Eyewitness accounts provide chilling detail about that morning. One man, a local hunter named Semyon, recalled, "I saw the sky split in two, and fire appeared high and wide over the forest. The heat was so strong I could not bear it, as if my shirt was on fire." Seconds later, a shockwave threw him into the air. Another villager, living 40 miles away, described a pillar of fire rising into the sky. People thought the world was ending. The sound of the blast was heard thousands of kilometers away. Residents in St. Petersburg, more than 3,000 miles from Tunguska, reported strange skies glowing at night for weeks afterward. In London, people could read newspapers at midnight without artificial light. But while the witnesses described fire, heat, and noise, none of them ever saw a meteorite hit the ground. Why no one investigated for 20 years? You might wonder, why didn't scientists rush to investigate immediately? The answer is geography and politics. The Tunguska region was one of the most remote areas in the Russian Empire. There were no roads, no railways, only endless taiga. News of the explosion took weeks to spread, and when it did, Russia was reeling from internal chaos, revolution, famine, and war. It wasn't until 1927, almost 2 decades later, that an official scientific expedition reached Tunguska. By then, much of the evidence had decayed, but what they found still shocked the world. The Leonid Kulik expedition. The man who led the first expedition was Leonid Kulik, a Russian mineralogist. Convinced that a giant meteorite had struck Siberia, he expected to find a massive crater filled with fragments of rock and metal. But when Kulik and his team arrived, they discovered something bizarre. In the epicenter of the devastation, the trees were still standing, their branches stripped bare like blackened poles. Around them for miles, every tree was knocked down flat, pointing away from the center of the explosion. This butterfly pattern suggested that the blast came from above, not from the ground. Yet no crater, no debris, no evidence of an impact was found. Kulik was stunned. For years he organized further expeditions, hoping to uncover the missing meteorite, but nothing was ever discovered. The science, the airburst theory. The leading scientific explanation today is the airburst theory. According to this idea, a stony asteroid or icy comet, perhaps 50 to 100 meters in diameter, entered Earth's atmosphere at tremendous speed, over 60,000 kilometers per hour. As it plunged deeper, the heat and pressure became unbearable. About 5 to 10 kilometers above the ground, the object exploded. This airburst released all of its energy at once, flattening the forest below. Because the meteorite disintegrated entirely, it left no crater and no fragments. Modern computer simulations show that such airbursts could happen every few centuries on Earth. Tunguska, scientists say, was a natural cosmic event, but an extremely dangerous one. Alternative theories. But here's the twist. Not everyone agrees. Over the years, dozens of alternative theories have emerged. Comet hypothesis. Some scientists believe Tunguska was caused by a comet made of mostly ice and dust. A comet would have vaporized completely in the atmosphere, leaving almost no trace. Volcanic eruption. A few suggested that a massive eruption from underground gas might have caused the blast, but no volcanic activity has ever been found in the area. Black hole passage. In the 1970s, two physicists proposed that a miniature black hole might have passed through Earth, entering in Siberia and exiting somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, but no exit crater was ever found. Antimatter explosion. Another idea was that a chunk of antimatter collided with Earth, annihilating itself on contact, but this would have left radiation signatures that were never detected. Alien spaceship. Perhaps the most controversial theory comes from UFO enthusiasts, who argue Tunguska was the crash of an extraterrestrial spacecraft. Eyewitnesses reporting strange lights days before the blast fuel this speculation. The ongoing mystery. Even today, the Tunguska event is not fully understood. Expeditions in the late 20th and early 21st century discovered unusual soil chemistry and tiny glass-like particles, possibly remnants of a meteor, but no definitive proof has ever been found. Some researchers believe the meteor disintegrated entirely in the air. Others think small fragments may still be buried beneath the swampy ground, waiting to be uncovered. NASA and other space agencies now monitor near-Earth objects constantly. Tunguska serves as a warning. Earth is not immune to cosmic impacts. What if Tunguska happened today? Imagine if the Tunguska explosion occurred over a major city, London, Tokyo, or New York. The devastation would be unimaginable. Millions could die instantly. The economy could collapse. It would be one of the greatest disasters in human history. This is why planetary defense has become so important. Scientists now study asteroids and comets, not only to understand them, but to protect humanity from the next Tunguska. The legacy of Tunguska. The Tunguska event changed the way we view our planet. It reminded us that Earth is not isolated. It lives in a cosmic shooting gallery, constantly bombarded by rocks from space. It also sparked imagination and fear. Books, movies, and TV shows have all dramatized the mystery. Was it a comet, an asteroid, or something else entirely? Over a century later, the Tunguska event remains a story of both science and wonder, a reminder of our vulnerability and our quest for knowledge. On June 30, 1908, the Siberian sky exploded, and the world has never stopped asking why. Perhaps it was just a random space rock, a once-in-a-thousand-years event, or perhaps it was something stranger, something we still cannot explain. One thing is certain: if we want to survive in the universe, we must keep watching the skies. Right finger subscribe to FactStorm and never miss the mysteries that shape our world.